Welcome to the joint webinar by EUSPA and EBN on space technologies for Fintech and Insurtech. A special edition, not only because Justyna Bernardo in one screen today, and we engage for interactivity as much as possible, but also it's an extension of the webinar series that we hosted this year on various topics from sustainability to farming to smart materials and many others, with the purpose to bring together the space industry, startup and business support communities. Today, we're exploring the potential of data from satellites and showcasing you how you can unlock new business opportunities in the Fintech and Insurtech sectors. With some special attention, we'll be focusing on the upcoming session by EUSPA at the EU Space Week in October, which will be on the same topic, and there will be some other opportunities mentioned specifically on Fintech over the course of the webinar. Stay tuned. And of course, continuously, both EUSPA and EBN, we look to how we can facilitate corporate innovation challenges with startup solutions around the world. My name is Bram Pauwels. I'm Strategic Partnership Manager at EBN. Welcome for joining again once more. We are pleased to have the colleagues from EUSPA here, Justyna, Head of Section Consumer Solutions Market and Technology, and Bernardo, Business Consultant for EUSPA. Uniquely for the audiences today, the EU BIC community, which is facilitated by EBN, and for the EUSPA stakeholders, Justyna and Bernardo will showcase you ideas and innovative solutions utilizing Europe's Earth observation services. I quickly add some more people in the room. Of course, tailored to our audience, we'll focus on entrepreneurial solutions. Before we introduce the agenda, some of you heard it already, please mute your microphones. We do encourage you to open your cameras. It's a small group and it's a place to discuss and not only to listen. So feel free to jump in with questions in the chat as well. Once again, the session is recorded. If you would like to remain anonymous, please shut off your camera and change your screen name. We'll distribute the video in conclusion of the others on the relevant channels, such as YouTube. Let's jump to what we're doing today. If we can see the agenda, I don't see the screen at the moment, but it's my issue here. I have the, there we go. Yeah. Nice pictograms. It's an improvement since the last time. We'll quickly, it was already nice, it gets even better. I will quickly introduce you to EBN in 3 minutes, and then we hand over to colleagues from EUSPA, which will give you a quick intro of the European Space Program and the opportunities there. And then we dive into the nitty-gritty, the cause why we're here, space technologies for Fintech and Insurtech use cases. Again, we would like to see you participate as much as possible, so really don't feel any hesitation to ask questions. That's what we're here for. And again, it's a close, intimate session, so feel free to speak up. Let me kick off and tell you a bit about EU BIC community and about EBN. Thank you. I do think what unites the EU BIC community is, as we're all, the people in the room as well here, and as organizations try to grapple for solutions. There's no doubt that technology is destined to be central to solving our global challenges and the acute challenges as well. What EBN does, we serve organizations that use business and innovation as a force for regional economic, sustainable, and social development. And they're recognized for their excellent performance via the EU BIC certification. Tell you a bit more about that later. And connected via the EU BIC community. Admit some latecomers, welcome. Here's a quick snapshot, indeed, what EBN and what the EU BIC community is about. I won't read what's on the slide. You can do that yourself. I think what's interesting to notice is that certified EU BICs use the best possible actions to create thriving startups and SMEs. You find them in different industries, ranging from space, deep tech, AI, medtech, smart materials, and agrofood, and even more. And I think what really characterizes them and what the key feature is of them, of course, you see the official certificate here on the slide as well, but they're taking real steps to ensure that their services are best advantageous to their client startups, and best advantageous to the regions. It's the original mandate where we founded them. Thank you for the question, Mo. I will get back to it later. Noted. Thanks again. Quick snapshot as of 2022. As you saw, indeed, there are now around 160 quality certified EUBICs and associate members in over 35 countries that shape the global EUBIC community. From a diverse background, ranging from being accelerators, incubators, science parks, academia, spin-off centers, and technology transfer organizations. What unites this focused yet varied group all over Europe is the 4 mission commitments, which you see on the screen here. Our core reason why we exist is support regional sustainable economic development. So we really work for the well-being of not only Europeans, but we expand as well beyond Europe, the well-being of citizens. We unite around delivering the best quality possible business support for startups and scale-ups and all innovators of all sorts. Does it work? It seems to be working quite well, because compared to the EU average, startups supported by EUBICs outperform in first and 5-year survival rates, so quite substantially. I'm happy to provide you with more information about the digits via our impact report. I will share a link later in the chat. Thirdly, our members seek to provide access to finance on a local but also a global scale. And last but not least, of course, we support the scaling of European innovation. This is mostly the glory of our members, and we're very proud to serve them. We as EBN, European Business and Innovation Center Network, we facilitate and support this rich pan-European global community of people using innovative business as a drive for regional sustainable economic development. What do we do to realize this? You see it quickly on the screen. And I'm speeding up because I want to keep colleagues from EUSPA as much time as possible. To realize this, EBN's activities include the EUBIC certification. You've seen it from the previous slides. We're the organization that has the rights to grant the certification, where this originates in the European Commission. We support the co-design and distribution of quality business support programs, the facilitation of project collaborations, so you fund the projects, global networking, and advocacy for excellent business support actors such as the EUBICs. In this context, our members, the EUBIC community, and their client companies, the startups and scale-ups, we are very pleased to collaborate with EUSPA and the broader European space sector, jointly toward building a green, digital, and fair society. We ambitiously aim to make Europe the hub for solving our global challenges, powered by innovation technology and the ingenuity of entrepreneurial innovators with us today as well. On this note, I'm more than happy to give the word to Justyna and Bernardo to introduce EUSPA and share some of the opportunities available within the EU Space Program.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot see you because I see just my screen. So later on, when we finish the presentation, I hope there will be some time to interact a little bit more. So my name is Justyna. I'm leading the team at EUSPA that is working on business development, market development, implementing the satellite data on Earth. And I'm here supported by Bernardo, that is working in particular on insurance and finance. So what we plan to do for today, we would like to introduce you a little bit EUSPA, but I promise to be short. Then I will give the floor to Bernardo to tell you about how you can use space data, what are the applications where space data can be used by banks, by insurance companies. And then I will conclude by explaining you some funding opportunities, business opportunities, and how you can collaborate with us. But I know that all of us, you are busy. We are busy, and so if you don't survive by the end of this webinar, but you are a bank or insurance company that is interested to use space data, please reach out to us. We will share contact details, and we are very interested to talk to you one by one and see your particular case and how space data can be used. So very briefly about EUSPA, it is a European Union agency that is focusing on space programs. And maybe not all of you know, but in Europe we have several programs that are funded by European Union, and they base on satellite space infrastructure and deliver services on Earth. So I think the most common, the most known program is Galileo, that is our positioning and navigation system. And it can be already widely used. I would say all of you should normally have already Galileo in your smartphones, even if you are not maybe aware of it. Galileo is working very well in navigating cars, helping planes to land, helping ships to navigate. So it is a very well adopted system already. And I would like to mention also Copernicus. And actually today we will focus mostly on Copernicus, that is Earth Observation Program. Copernicus has several satellites that have different sensors on board and tell us what is happening on Earth. So it delivers the imagery data, the infrared data, many data sets that can tell us what is happening on Earth. And this can support 17 different verticals in our economy, including also fintech. We will tell you more about this. When we look at the Earth observation market, as I mentioned, the data can be used in many different applications. It can be used in agriculture, in climate services. Maybe the font here is for you too small to read. We will share the slides after. But here on the left side, you see this turquoise, light green insurance and finance. And you see that it's still pretty small, the market today. There are some applications that are using space data to estimate, for example, the impact of natural disasters, and this is linked with insurance claims. Bernardo will tell you a little bit more. But the total revenues from the services of using this satellite data is almost 3 billion euro, while the insurance and finance markets today, they generate only a little bit more than 100 million in revenues. So there is a huge potential. So the message is the market is small today, but we see a lot of potential. And Copernicus is operating already for some years, but in insurance and finance, it was not really picking up very quickly. But on the second slide, I would like to show you that the forecast is that insurance and finance will be the fastest growing market. You can see here on the upper left side of the screen that insurance and finance will grow more than 20% per year, and it will reach overall more than 20% of the market value in the next decade. So this is definitely an interesting market to look at. And again, we would like to encourage all the companies that are involved today in fintech, and they are not experts on space data. They would like to understand how to monetize the space data and implement them in their processes to reach out to us. So I will leave Bernardo to explain you a bit more on the application side.
Hello, good afternoon. And now I will go into details about the application, the space technology application for insurance and finance. And first of all, we would like to define the market, what we mean by insurance and finance market segments. And it contains the services and products that are provided and consumed by institutions and organizations, such as banks, financial institutions, stock exchange, etc. There are 6 application categories where space technology are relevant, and we have them split in 2 categories, for insurance and for finance. I will briefly say a couple of words for each one of them so you can understand what we are talking about. Starting from event footprint is the process of assessing the damage caused by an extreme event. By using Earth observation, it's possible to compare the status of an area before and after this extreme event, and therefore quantify the losses. Another use case is the risk modeling. It's a traditional use of Earth observation data to define how probable is an extreme event and what are the potential losses that this event can cause. This is the use of Earth observation is used to calibrate these models, and is a key component. Another application is the index production. This is a more recent approach where smallholders can receive the payments not based on the loss incurred, but on the extreme event trigger. So, for example, if a farmer experiences a flooding, it will receive the compensation just if the flooding occurs, not based on the losses that he will have. In finance, we have timing and synchronization. That is an application mostly for GNSS, where GNSS plays a central role. For example, here in finance, all financial institutions are required by law to trace all the financial transaction with a robust, consistent and accurate timing source. And here GNSS is a key player, because it provides exactly this information that is crucial for tracking the transactions. Then in commodity trading is the use of satellite imagery to track the production and transport of commodities. And this information is used by investors or traders to determine the variability of the prices of such commodities and define the financial strategies in a proper way. Finally, we have the risk assessment, that is the use of space of Earth observation imagery to assess the risk and likelihood of an impact, of an extreme event such as floodings or subsidence. Now we will go to the analysis of the forecast of those applications. And we will see here in the graph that we are currently talking about around 150 million euros that are generated by the 5 application categories, among which almost half of these revenues are coming from the use of Earth observation for risk modeling. During the next 10 years, the market will grow as a in a very consistent way, with a CAGR of 21%, which means that every year will grow on average 20%. And this means, as a result, by 2031, the market will have a value of 1 billion total in revenues. We are talking here about Earth observation data and services. So it means service providers selling solutions based on Earth observation to final customers such as financial institutions or banks. One of the key trends here I mentioned here is the rise of parametric insurance. We are this is the new approach where the smallholders are paid based on a trigger event, which can include extreme weather and environment events. So here, satellite image is a tool to monitor remotely conditions on ground, and also to design the index that are determining the payouts. This approach has some important benefits in comparison with the traditional approach. For example, it allows faster payouts because the analysis of the occurrence of the trigger is very straightforward. You can confirm this by checking the available data, and usually the farmers in this case can have the payouts within days and not months, that is normally with the traditional approach. This index parametric approach also is very flexible because allows to adjust, customize the policy based on different triggers, and also the compensation can be modified, and you don't need to go the farmer, the insurance company doesn't need to assess all the possible damages that can be caused by a particular event. Finally, this approach provides coverage for difficult to model losses. Sometimes, for example, if a hurricane strikes a field, you can the farmer can experience losses in many aspects, such as in the crop, in the infrastructure, in the machinery. And this approach enables to use the funds received from the insurance company in the area where the losses are more relevant. Regarding GNSS, there is a new it's being used in some other applications different than timestamping that I mentioned before. For example, the use of positioning is being used by service providers to develop credit scoring technology that is able to process different points coming from a particular customer. Let's say it's enabled to analyze the behavior, the human behavior based on inputs coming from the smartphone, from social media, including also the user location. Analyzing all this data, the service providers are able to provide a risk score, that is useful for financial institution to decide whether to provide a credit or not to a potential customer. Another use case of GNSS or location technology here is to detect frauds. For example, the use case here is related to the use of POS or ATM from a customer, and the financial institution can confirm if the location of the user is corresponding with the location of the ATM. In case there are some difference, this transaction can be marked as suspected and can be blocked. Here I would like to show you the value chains of both Earth observation and GNSS. Here we can see on the top of the slides the different categories of Earth observation stakeholders, going from the infrastructure providers to data providers. And here in the data providers, we have, for example, the Copernicus dias that are the platform access points where users can access the raw data from Copernicus, Earth observation data. Those platforms enable users to get this information free of charge. That can be then used, for example, by service providers to develop products for end users. Here in the value chain, you can see in green the public offerings. This is just an example. They are not all the players listed here, but just to give you an idea of who are the different players in this value chain. Then for GNSS, we have the component and device manufacturer, because the timing provided by GNSS is received by a specific receiver that is acquired by banks and stock exchange. The trends and information that I provided now is coming from the EUSPA market report on Earth observation and GNSS. It's a study that we publish in a regular basis every 2 years, where we analyze the 17 market segments regarding the trends and forecasts for the next 10 years. We analyze the different applications, and I believe it's a very interesting source of information for you that are active in this market segment. So I invite you to download. Here is the link and the QR code. Now I would like to go a bit more into details about the different applications that I briefly introduced in the previous slides. The index production is again the new approach where a type of insurance that covers the probability of a predefined event and not indemnifying the actual loss incurred. Here we have the contribution of Earth observation. I have a very long list here, but I will mention just the most relevant one. Then I will share the presentation with you, and you can go into details. And if you have any question, I will be available to answer them. For example, for index production, we have the Earth observation information enables the computation of indexes for crop and livestock insurance, and allows also to understand past trends of the insurance events, and also reduce the number of on-site visits for claim verification, because the information can be accessed just by downloading the images available in the Copernicus DIAS, for example. In particular, Copernicus supports the monitoring of drought condition and soil moisture, the crop dynamics with the Sentinel-2, and also the monitoring of surface temperature that is very relevant for drought prediction. Finally, Sentinel-6 also is used to monitor the environmental and climate change. There are also other services, Copernicus services that are relevant. For example, the Copernicus land monitoring system provides maps of land use and change. This is useful to track changes in crops, for example, after an extreme event. And the same happened with the atmospheric monitoring services that provides a catalog of winds and storm, etc. Here is a use case of index production. Is about a partnership between Skyline, this is a service provider that developed an index insurance product for Jamaican farmers. The Caribbean country has a low insurance penetration rate, and this is very important here because this is the parametric insurance is one of the very few opportunities that have this farmer to exist, because there is a cooperative that provides microcredit to those farmers, and if the farmers are not able to pay the loans, the cooperative cannot exist. And the cooperative is also enable the existence of these farmers. And therefore, the cooperative has decided to acquire this parametric insurance solution from Skyline Partners that covers the missed payments received from farmers in case of extreme events. You may know that this Caribbean country is very prone to hurricanes, so extreme events are often happening, and the losses can be very big. Another application here is a risk modeling that I mentioned, is the use of Earth observation data to calibrate risk models. This information is useful to understand the probability and the impact of extreme events. Copernicus here provide key information such as the land surface motion risk, and also the risk of flooding detection, flooding, also detecting the changes of the flood, let's say. Sentinel-2 supports the ice and land surface temperature measures, and with Sentinel-4, 5, and 6 is possible to monitor the air quality. That is also relevant for this modeling, risk modeling application. Let's move to the use case of risk modeling. The company called Space Inc. is a French company that has developed a hail damage algorithm to detect the impact of hail for farmers. So basically, they combine information coming from Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 to detect, to assess the status of crops. And using the information of climate change, they are able to predict the probability of an extreme event, and then calculate the losses that an insurance company will have to face in case of the event. The event footprint, as I mentioned, is the application where insurance company compares the status of a farm, for example, before and after an extreme event, in order to quantify the losses incurred by the farmer. This is possible by comparing historical information from Copernicus, for example, status of the farm before and after the event. Is a tool that allows easy understanding of the damage, and this is done, for example, using Copernicus Sentinel-1 that is recording the changes in the terrain deformation, and also to assess land use change detection. This is related to crops. Sentinel-3 supports the mapping and monitoring of sea and land surface temperatures, for example, to detect if a crop was hit by frozen temperatures. And also Sentinel-6 supports measuring sea and surface and height. Here, this is a use case of event footprint. Is a company called Data Science Expert. It's a French company that is combining Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 data. And using artificial intelligence to the images, they are able to detect the intensity and duration of extreme weather events. This is a solution for insurance companies. You can see in the image that the visualization of the impact is very clear, where the floods were detected, and they provide also the quantify information about the impact of this event. Now moving to the financial world, we have the slide is about the risk assessment, and this is the process of analyzing potential event that may result in the loss of financial values. This is used by financial institutions to decide whether a potential investment can be beneficial or not, because here we analyze the impact and likelihood of events such as flooding or subsidence, for example, that is possible to be tracked by Copernicus. Here, for example, Sentinel-1 monitored the land surface motion risks, for example, earthquakes or subsidence. And Sentinel-3 provides information about maritime-related type of risks, like flooding, for example. Sentinel-6 provides information about air quality. And there are other Copernicus services, such as marine environment monitoring services, also related to floodings. We can relevant information can be derived from this service. And then there are other data that is related to climate change of the affected area. This is used. It can be accessed via the Copernicus Climate Change Service. Here is an example of risk assessment where World Bank developed for Monrovia, this is the capital of Liberia, an analysis of the impact of floodings in the city, with the scope to plan the development, to track where are the development, where are the risky areas to avoid unnecessary development of real estate. For example, in this case, the study was tracking the level rise of the sea. You know that when the sea rises over the coastline, it causes erosion and can cause shorelines to retreat landwards. So this analysis allowed to detect risky areas to avoid unnecessary real estate development. And then the analysis was considered historical data of the last 34 years. So it was a very, let's say, deep analysis that is also able to predict what will happen in the next decade. The last example is commodity trading, and is the tracking of production and transport of commodities, different commodities, from agriculture commodities to minerals extraction. By analyzing the data coming from Earth observation, it's possible to detect if, for example, a crop will be the harvest of a crop will be as expected, or will go under or over expectations. So this enables, for example, traders or financial institutions that are investing in these kind of indexes to predict the price, and therefore define the strategy, the financial strategy. To track this production of commodities, Sentinel-1 and Sentinel-2 are used to acquire images of the key locations where these commodities are produced, and also where are transport, because you know these commodities also, the impact of the transport of the commodity affect the price of the commodity itself. Here we have an example of a service that tracks the volume of dry bulk commodities held in international commercial ports, and is based on Sentinel-2 and PlanetScope data. So the information is useful by value chain stakeholders, but also for financial institutions that are investing in this kind of commodities. Another example is the platform called Savant that was developed by Earth-I service provider, is an English service provider, that is tracking the activity of smelters around the world. 90% of copper and nickel smelters are tracked by this platform, and is tracking the activity levels of production of these two minerals, and is also able to provide information about shutdown or inactivities in those facilities. This information is again very relevant for financial institutions and traders that are buying and selling stocks of these kind of commodities. And now I will give the floor to Justyna, that will introduce the opportunities that we have from our agency related to insurance and finance.
Okay, before we move on, Bram, can you confirm you can still hear us?
We can hear you and we can see the slides. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, because we received some calls during the presentation, sorry.
No worries.
For that, because we thought it was you trying to reach us. It's really uncomfortable to see just the slide in front of us. So we are happy that you can hear us. So Bernardo went really into details of all the applications and use cases. We are aware that we put a lot of text on the slide, but it is actually for you because we would like to share this presentation after, and you have for each application area the list of relevant data coming from Copernicus, and you can go in detail then to see if this is relevant for your use case. So now I would like to move a little bit to the opportunities and how to collaborate with us if you are interested in the topic. So first of all, in 2 weeks, in the first week of October, we are organizing the so-called user consultation platform. This is an event where we meet industry representatives alongside the whole value chain. So if you are working in fintech and you would like to use space data, or you are already one of the suppliers of IT solutions for insurance and finance, we would be very happy to meet you in Prague. We know that it's quite a short notice, so it is also possible to partially join remotely. But we would really encourage you to be there with us in person, because we will be discussing all these use cases, and we will be collecting user needs and requirements. So information from you on how this space data you would like to use, how much should be, how precise should be the resolution of the imagery. We will go into technical details with you to try to also upscale, modify the services that are currently provided in order to better meet these user needs. So please feel free to reach out to us. You can see at the euspacweek.eu the full program, and we will be happy to welcome you at the insurance and finance session. In addition, EUSPA, being the European Union agency, is also supporting directly the development of such solutions. So we have several funding programs where we are welcoming the participation of European companies. So we have a call open under Horizon Europe that I will present shortly. We are sponsoring funding some pilot projects on Copernicus demonstrators. And we also have a dedicated support under Cassini Entrepreneurship Initiative. So if you would like to develop a solution that is addressing these needs is within these application areas, also please get in touch with us and we can explain you which funding opportunity would be the best for you. Under Horizon Europe in particular, we have 48 million that will be made available in October this year. So we are launching the call in October, and you have the application deadline until February next year. So there is plenty of time to create a consortium of companies and develop a new solution, do your R&D activities together with us. And the topics, as you can see here, they are pretty broad, like Copernicus downstream applications or large-scale Copernicus data uptake. So basically, any solution that you invent that is using Copernicus would somehow fit within this course. So it is quite an interesting opportunity. We are starting now with the Copernicus demonstrators project. So this call is already closed. We received several applications and we are going to launch the project by end of the year. So here we will demonstrate in real life with the proof of concept and the pilots how these applications can work at the end user side. So we will also do some pre-development of interfaces, for example, because if you are a bank and you are currently using some SAP or Oracle solution, we also need to see how the space data can be integrated in your current IT systems, in your current solutions. So we are also supporting this. And last but not least, we have really many different opportunities for startups. So we are directly supporting with some acceleration programs, the development of solutions. We are offering technical advice, business advice. We are supporting the connection with venture capital firms. We are also collaborating with European Investment Fund and Investment Bank for larger financing opportunities. And we are also launching several activities still this autumn that you can directly join. One of them is the Cassini Hackathon. It will be organized in 10 countries around Europe, in Belgium, Czech Republic, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Lithuania, Slovenia, Spain, and Switzerland. you can go to the website that you can see here at the bottom of the slide and sign up. And this edition will be focusing exclusively on fintech. So we have 3 challenges: enabling green and sustainable investments, innovating financial tools and technologies, and advancing global financial intelligence. So everything around fintech. And you can also join if you are a bigger corporate or a bank as a partner to see what the entrepreneurs are developing here. And we are also offering trainings that are free. We have this EUSPA Space Academy still open for applications. So you will have some online trainings here available on how to use space data, but also how to set up a business using space data. And last but not least, we are going to launch within the next 2 weeks the new My EU Space competition. So it is our own acceleration program with €1 million prize pool, where over a few months you can develop your solutions with us, and we help you technically, financially, and with our market know-how. So I would stop here the presentation, the formal part, and we will be very happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Justyna, Bernardo. Justyna, just a reminder of the time, it's 10 to 6. I'm aware that you have another important meeting afterwards. So if there are direct questions for Justyna, post them now, and otherwise Bernardo and I can stay for a bit longer, but don't hesitate. Just open your microphone.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. My name is Anne Dubois. I'm working at Earth Daily Agro. We are a branch of Earth Daily Analytics. In one of your slides, we are a service provider for the fintech market. And I have actually 2 questions. One is more on the scientific side. So we do use very largely the Copernicus program, mainly the Sentinel-1 and 2 data. And I'm really curious to know more about the Sentinel-6, which is offering a air quality, and how is it used in your product? Because it's really the first time I hear that. And the second question is more on the innovation financing part. Would you be willing to finance a company which if the product is finally not only for Europe, but can be addressed to other countries? I think partly the question is yes, because I've seen the Jamaican use case, but was it an exception, or is it no problem for you if the solution can go outside of Europe?
Mm-hmm. Maybe I will start with answering the second part of the question. So all our EU funding programs, they are targeted to EU companies. So if you are based in France, you are eligible. Then if you sell your products outside of Europe, this is not a problem. However, if you involve in a project, in a funding project, some partners that will be then implementing the solution in countries outside of Europe, they may not be eligible for funding. There are some exceptions because we have also like associated countries and so on. So I suggest that you either join one of our info days specifically for these funding programs, or you get in touch with us and we can answer specifically for this partner that is outside of Europe. But the fact that you are selling your products outside of Europe is not a problem at all. And okay. Bernardo, on this.
Yeah, the Sentinel-6, I'm not a technical expert on Copernicus, but Sentinel-6, for example, is used to track environmental and climate change changes on Earth. For example, tracking the sea level of the sea. If you have a more specific question on Sentinel-1, I can try to answer by email later on.
So we are trying to explore all Sentinels for this purpose. It's true that Sentinel-1 and 2 are the ones that are most used now. We are trying to look at some climate-related events also with Sentinel-6, but it's true that it's not really used today yet. So we will be happy to work with you and explore this area, actually.
Okay, that's also, yes, but I mean, for us, also an input and, you know, to see how we can move on with that new satellite.
Yes, and could be one of the R&D projects that could be proposed. We would be very happy to see this, because in fact, we see that for fintech today, the dominating part is insurance for agriculture. And this is really mature already. There are many solutions available, mostly for flooding and fire. We are starting to work more and more now also on hail and other applications. But we would like to explore more, especially these new application areas for investment banking, like for big construction projects to calculate the risk for this investment for an investment bank, and maybe to combine it even with an analysis on environmental footprint of such an investment. So there are some new areas that we will really be happy to explore. So we start with this session at the EU Space Week to connect with the community, to try to understand what we can do, but also on one-to-one basis, we are really happy to discuss in detail with our experts.
Okay, so we are more specifically working on agriculture and commodities. So maybe construction site is not in our scope, but if that can bring any value on developing better indexes, of course, we can think on it.
Super, thank you.
Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. I think we have time for one last question. Speak up now or reach out later on. We'll share contact details via email as well.
Yeah, hi. This is Shashank here. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, coming back to, I've been in insurance platform more than a decade. So I have a customers in Southeast Asia, and we are a startup company in Europe and UK. So let me know how we can work together on this. Because I like your platforms, which is more into financials and insurance platform. And coming back to a fraud detection tools and all, I've been supporting in Southeast Asia larger scams, which is happening on a financial scams. The recent case, which we integrated a tool, we able to stop of one of the scam which has happened in India, which is about a multi-billion-dollar scam. We able to stop it.
Well, we can for sure discuss potential collaboration. For the countries outside of Europe, we also have a project that is supporting us that is called Global Action on Space. And we used to have like a set of events in Southeast Asia. We have really good connection there. So we would be happy to discuss with you. Let's take it offline. You will receive our contact details. We can schedule a dedicated call with you and see how we collaborate together.
Sure, perfect, awesome. And we are a startup company in a space technology, and let's see how we can work together on a space technology.
Great, very good.
Perfect. Thank you all. Thank you, Justyna. Thank you, Bernardo. On that note, I think we're closing. As Justyna mentioned indeed already, contact details will be spread by email after the webinar is concluded. We'll share the recording as well. Hope to see you again in the next one, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
It was a great meeting, man. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Shashank.
Thank you, and sorry for the disruptions that we had in the presentation. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.